Mob Entertainment shadow dropped the trailer to Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, and I don't know what to think. This marks a massive change of pace for the company. I mean, think of the lead up to Chapter 3. We had to wait years without any news, similar to Pokemon Legends ZA. We had a very, very brief reveal trailer, and we had to wait more than a full calendar year before we got any more details on Poppy Chapter 3. And my god, was it worth it. In between Chapter 2 and 3, of course, we had Project Playtime, which is, and I know I've said this so many times, the game that I have played the most in my life, unexpectedly. I think at one point, not to brag, I was number 3 in Europe, I keep on saying it. And just because you played the game for the longest in a continent doesn't exactly mean you're the best. And now, without any semblance of a build-up, we have a full 1-minute cinematic trailer for Chapter 4. I thought it was a troll. There is so much that you can draw from the decision to release a full trailer like this out of the blue without even looking at what happens on screen. I know a few people that love Poppy Playtime as much as me, which is always a good thing, and not one of them had heard of a Chapter 4 trailer releasing today until 6 hours after the trailer came out, when it was already number 1 on trending for gaming. Not to mention, we already have an idea, unless this is a massive misdirection, of who the main antagonist may be. And it looks like they're following the Smiling Friends storyline from Chapter 3 pretty close. There's this sheep thing, some people think it's a sheep or a lamb or a ram, and they've gone to the thumbnail status already. Now, whoever is headlining a Poppy Playtime chapter will reach viral status straight away. It happened with Huggy, they are on so many thumbnails, bootleg products and all sorts. Happened again with Mummy Longlegs, they became equally as popular, if not more so, a little bit in some parts of the world and the community. Project Playtime had Boxy Boo, they weren't as popular as the others, but they're my personal favourite, and I still see them in YouTube Kids videos all over the place. And next comes this thing. It's small, it's comparable to a Smiling Friends thing. It doesn't look wildly different to everything else in the game, the way that the sort of, as I call them, headline villains did before. This has got a few people disappointed actually, because it seems like Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 is much more of like a Chapter 3 Part 2, almost Half-Life style, but I honestly don't mind it. If they're making up for this by leading up to a reveal for the prototype in Chapter 4, which I believe they are, then this could be something really special. But there is a little more. Obviously, they released this trailer very, very recently. Again, much like Legend ZA in the previous video, it dropped when I was in the middle of a lecture and couldn't divert my full attention to it until now. They've done the very useful, helpful thing of giving no further details, but at this stage, like directly after release, what can you expect? What I want to know is, who animated this Chapter 4 teaser trailer? It went a bit under the radar that there were a few high profile resignations and walkouts in a way at Mob Games within the last 12 months, including the person who animated the fantastic and already nostalgic cinematic release trailer for Project Playtime. So they obviously got someone new on this. I could message them and find out, and I probably will. It's just interesting to think about. There's one other little inkling, and it may or may not be true. I don't believe it is, but I'm going to include it anyway. Mob Entertainment may or may not have trademarked the Nightmare Friends thing, Nightmare Smiling Friends trademark as a name, in case I wanted to use it. But having a 4th chapter with the villains called the Nightmares is a very Five Nights at Freddy's thing to do, and I don't think Poppy would fly that close to the sun, to put it lightly, because there are some people that still aren't convinced Poppy is more than just a rip-off of FNAF. Not to mention, we are so much further along the cycle than we were when Chapter 3 got its first trailer, because we have a release date of January for Chapter 4, and that is fantastic. That's 4 months from now. So we're returning to the pace of Chapter 2, maybe 2022 Poppy Playtime, where there was a lot going on, and that's brilliant. It really does seem like Project Playtime was a lot more of a heartfelt diversion in the lead up to Chapter 3 than just something that was released as an excuse to either restart development on Chapter 3 or just delay its release. They left it purposefully ambiguous, but here they seem pretty set on making this their top priority. But on the subject of Project Playtime, you have to think, is there going to be some kind of tie-in release on Project Playtime, either in cosmetics, or a new map, or a new update? Because we've been on Phase 3 in Project Playtime for quite a while now, and it wasn't even that much. There are a few UI updates on Phase 3, but no new skins or anything, and that disappointed a lot of people. and it was a bit of a letdown for me. And there isn't even that much more that's been added since the release of Chapter 3. There wasn't that much of a tie-in, like there were no Smiling Friends cosmetics, and correct me if I'm wrong, there were no catnap items, so it did sort of seem like Project Playtime was left in the dust. And unless they do something really special for the release of Chapter 4, it may well be just completely forgotten. I checked on SteamDB this morning and there are currently 120 people playing Project Playtime. It may be more or less than that because of time zones. America has just woken up. There could be more on the way for Project Playtime, but Chapter 4 will be very much make or break for whether or not Project Playtime retains its relevancy at all, because it's 2 games ago and it's not getting that much to keep it alive. But if there's one thing that can be drawn from the release of such a comprehensive Chapter 4 trailer out of nowhere, now, 4 months before release, it shows a remarkable change of pace in mob entertainment and a lot of stamina. There was one little inkling that maybe we'd get something when they released those 3 lore videos, Story So Far, Chapter 1, 2 and 3, but I didn't expect anything so soon. I don't think any of us did. Are you excited for Chapter 4?